What's good, everybody? RJ Shelton here. Another episode of Beatty Boys. As you see, I got my good brother James Muenchow with me. If you are new here, we do talk about Wisconsin sports. If you're not, welcome back. Jimmer, how we doing, brother?
Victory week, victory week. We all like a victory week. A lot of things going on, or well, like one thing going on this week that's different than just the football. But we got a big week, a little bit of a big week ahead of us for Wisconsin sports.
Absolutely, yes, we do. Well, let's go ahead and hop into it. Obviously, the Packers will start there, beat the Texans 24-22. Great tight game that, if they needed to pass the test, they did. Jordan Love was 22 of 33 from the field, 220 yards throwing, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Want to minimize those 2 interceptions, but other than that, he played very well in the second half. Josh Jacobs had 12 carries for 76 yards, 5 receptions for 16 yards and a touchdown. Romeo Doubs had an unreal day. I think
Hmm.
realistically, that was the best wide receiver on the field that game, had 8 receptions for 94 yards. Wicks had 3 receptions for 40 yards and a touchdown. It's good for him to get in the end zone. And then Tucker Kraft, obviously, 3 receptions for 33 yards and a touchdown. Talk to me about this offense this game and what you saw from this past Sunday.
Well, we'll start with the downside of it, which was the offense. That second half, man, I could have taken a nap.
Right.
And like, I mean, if I would have fell asleep after the first touchdown from Green Bay, I'd have been like, and then woke up with 5 minutes left. You didn't miss anything.
Right.
So lackluster second half, really good first half, I'd say. Even though Jordan Love had some interceptions, he had some interceptions, but then he had some throws that I was like, oh my god, dude!
Right.
Like that Tucker Kraft. First, he had the whole shot throw to Wicks, which you saw the Texans basically sit in a shell for, I would say, probably 80% of the snaps. So they were basically daring Green Bay to run the ball, which Green Bay had a lot of trouble running the ball.
Right.
Um, those yards by Josh Jacobs, he did break two of them, I would say, for chunks. Other than that, those were blue collar, hard earned yards. He had to earn everything. So they were basically daring them to throw, and Green Bay's interior offensive line and a little bit of the tackles got beat up pretty good, but that's a really good defensive front from Houston as well. Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson, man, that's going to give any offensive line fits. Um, but they tried to run some things in the middle, and then they were basically the only thing that was open was Romeo Doubs running slants. I think 7 out of his 8 catches were maybe slants. They were just slant, got it, slant, got it, slant, got it. Like they were leaving it open, so they kept taking it. So offensively, that was a grind. That was a frustrating game in the second half, especially. That was a grind, and you just got to. It shows another versatile like way Green Bay can win games. They can do the grinded out games, or they can do the we're gonna have to score 40 because both offenses are high powered. So they took a step forward last week against Arizona, and they kind of took a couple steps back. But that's because Houston's defense, give them credit, they played really well. So you just kind of just build on that and just try to minimize some of the mistakes that Jordan Love made.
Yeah, no, it's when I'm just like was re-watching highlights obviously on Monday before I got on. It's just like when you're watching, it's just like we already talked about this multiple times on here. It's like we got to get over that hump and we can go ahead and close games out. I know we say this repeatedly, but it's such the truth. Um, Matt LaFleur, when I like feel in those situations, like when I look at a team that doesn't get over the hump, I see it as the guy who's call playing, the guy that needs to go ahead and know what his quarterback is going to see on a specific down to go ahead and move the chains, or his play calling, whatever he has on his play sheet, to where, which he probably has, to where it shows like, okay, I know if I call these 3 plays or 4 plays in a row, we're going to go ahead and get a first down, or we're going to go ahead and be in a position to win. And I really don't think we have that right now. But once we figure that out, once we figure what we can do to go ahead and minimize, obviously, not being able to go ahead and close games out from an offense, because we're going to have to do it at some point. Like, we can't go ahead and be all the way to week 8, and we still haven't figured that out, because we're going to go ahead and be playing very good opponents in the NFC North. Talk to me, like, where do you think his process is and what it should be going forward?
I think this game was a little different because obviously you couldn't run the ball very effectively. Like as we talk about every week, what this Shanahan offense is built on the running game. He couldn't run the ball very effectively, and he was being put into a lot of 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 situations. And Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter were just pinning their ears back. Will Anderson is a game wrecker. Like, he's getting to the point where it doesn't matter what your game plan is, he single-handedly can wreck it. So because they couldn't run the ball effectively, they were being put into very, very bad 3rd and long, 3rd and even intermediate situations. It was, all right, you got to chip Will Anderson, you got to do something. And because they had to chip Will Anderson, Rasheed Walker on the other side with Danielle Hunter was being left one-on-one. So, and also, Green Bay was fighting field position battles the whole entire second half. They lost that. They were inside their 20 or on their 20 probably almost every single possession, except for the one they went and got the field goal. Like, they were fighting. And I was like, against that defense, they had one really good drive where they went down the field from, I think, around their 25-30 and got it. But when they were starting inside their 20-yard line, man, I was like, with this defense, with the Texas defense the way it was playing, it was going to be tough. They were going to have to get a first down. They didn't, and they didn't get hardly any first downs. I don't even know if they got after the first touchdown drive in the second half. I don't know if they got a first down until the last drive.
Yeah,
So
I think it was literally the last drive. They couldn't do anything. But it's just
so,
like, with that though, like, that's the question. Like, where do you think, like, say for instance, right, that we have it figured out, like, say you go back to that whole situation. What would you do if you obviously saying you're having to play calling things that I know the run's not there, but we're going to face defenses that are going to go ahead and have monster guys on the outside. We're going to face guys that are going to have a great secondary. I mean, the Lions, the Bears, when we play the Vikings again, they're going to be the same thing. What are some things that Matt LaFleur needs to do?
I honestly think he needs to run a little bit more hurry up. If you're getting into that stagnant, all right, we've had like 2 or 3 3 and outs, you need to get the offense back into rhythm somehow. And I think
Absolutely.
a hurry up offense for Jordan Love, it simplifies everything. It gets him thinking less. It gets everyone just, all right, what are we doing? I think Jordan Love plays a little bit better in hurry up offense. So I would have tried a different approach in that specific situation after the second or third and out.
Right.
Bro, like, all right, this ain't working. Like, obviously,
Right.
This ain't working.
Clearly, we're not getting where we need to get to.
I'm
100% with you on that.
They're sitting in their 2 shell. I think they probably could have went to a hurry up and it probably would have worked. But we've seen it over how many years with. I just don't understand it. Going back to Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers when they started having their offensive struggles, and then if Matt LaFleur has his, I don't know why offensive teams why they don't just go, okay, let's try something. Let's try a different tempo. Let's go hurry up. Matt LaFleur, along with Mike McCarthy, they were both are just sticklers on being balanced.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I'm okay with it if it's working. If you're running the ball effectively and you can throw play action at them and you can do all this stuff that I know Mike McCarthy and Matt LaFleur like to play, go for it. I'm not going to have an issue. Right. But when that run's not working and you're getting put in 3rd and 8s and 3rd and 7s or 3rd and 10s, and you got 2 really good pass rushers coming at you, go hurry up. 2 seconds, one step drop, hit somebody on a 3-yard hook. 1 step drop, hit Romeo Doubs on a slant like we saw so many times.
Right.
Something had to change, and it didn't until we needed it to. And look what happened. They just marched down the field,
right,
and then they went and got points. The hurry-up offense will put teams on one, gas a defense. Like that'll slow a defense down a little bit, and then you can maybe sneak some runs in there, some screen passes, which I think in the first half, LaFleur called a really good game. And then the second half, I just think okay, we're being stopped. Try something different. And Matt LaFleur's a stickler. He wants to stick with that run. So I think they should have changed it to a no-huddle offense once. If it doesn't work, go back. I don't care. You know what? You proved us right, or you proved that we're wrong, and that you know more football than us because you already do. But I think at times you just need to change. And I think that was the change. And he didn't change it. Nothing changed. Like, he was still getting
Right.
stuffed. And then, all right, we got a minute 45. No time, or one timeout, which, oh my God, we were gifted with that. That was the
Yes.
dumbest call for Houston to do. I'm sitting there thinking, I mean, we don't know, like, in game situations, I understand you have a clear or you don't have a very clear mind. Pressure's on, your mind's going a million miles a minute as a head coach and a time management person. But why would you want 3rd and 15? What are you going to do?
Right.
Like, unless you're taking a shot at the end zone, which wouldn't have been very smart either, just run the ball. What is he was inside, I think he was inside the 20, or maybe even inside, or the 25, and you have 15 yards to go. You got to get to the 10. Obviously, Green Bay is just going, run the ball. Like, we'll rally the ball, make the tackle. We'll sacrifice our last timeout, and we'll go a minute 45 with no timeouts. Because minute 45 in the NFL with no timeouts is a long time.
Right.
And then they throw the ball. I was like, huh?
Yeah.
And what did they do? They only got 10. They didn't even come close. And the fact is, it was an out route toward the sideline. Stupid. Because what a DB is, first off, going to try to take him out of bounds. Second of all, it was a horribly thrown ball towards the boundary. And he caught it. I didn't even care if he did catch it. He was going out of bounds. The clock would have stopped anyway. That was just really bad mismanagement. I was like, oh my God, they gave us one timeout. Oh, this could be really good. So, tangent, there's the classic RJ and James tangent. But offensively, it was a blue-collar game that Green Bay can win in a different way than the pretty Arizona game we saw, where it was like, oh, everything working, just do whatever you want, it's going to work, to, yeah, that's not working, that's really not working. It needed to change, but hey, W's in the NFL are hard to come by. And
Absolutely.
if you turn the ball over 3 times and you somehow walk out and you turn the ball over 3 times, lots of I guess it wasn't lots of penalties, but you come out with a dub, okay. We'll see you next week, guys. Let's do something different next week. But hey, we got the dub. Let's get out of here.
No, absolutely. That's definitely what you want at the end of the day. Offense, obviously, I said earlier, second half, Jordan Love had a great first half. But then obviously second half, when he had to go ahead and make some shake, he did to get that field goal up. Moving on over, I just want to go ahead and hit on the defense, obviously, from this game. I just want to highlight some things, which is needed to be highlighted because we are seeing probably one of the best Packers defense in a long time. And that's pushing it, me saying that, but we are at that point in time in the season to say that. We held basically CJ Stroud to 86 yards throwing. Stephon Diggs had 5 receptions for 23 yards. Really shouldn't even have had 23 yards. Tank Dell didn't even record a single stat, which is crazy. Even though we gave up 100 yards plus on the ground, which we definitely need to tighten up there. I mean, we just gave one of the top 5 quarterbacks in all of NFL. We held him to 86 yards. And we finally got some pressure. We finally got some pressure from the D-line.
Man.
Talk to me about this from the defensive perspective.
That was what we call a mess. If you're a soccer watcher, which I know there's not a bunch of soccer people on this pod, and they're going to be like, all right, we're going to talk about soccer pod. No, we're not a really big soccer pod yet. You have a defensive good game over in soccer over in Europe. They call that a masterclass. Defensive masterclass. This was what that was, a defensive masterclass. We saw things from Jeff Hafley that Jeff Hafley was reaching in that kitchen sink, pulling out, that we haven't seen before, and that's the type of stuff that you look and go, this is why you got him. So CJ Stroud, really athletic quarterback. He has threatened with his legs. So what has Green Bay done to combat that? They just stay more disciplined. They don't run that many stunts up front. Maybe on a third down they will, but it's like a very conservative one, so they don't break pocket. That was not that. That was aggressive stunting from Jeff Hafley, and he was putting 7, 8 dudes on the line going, just guess. That's basically what it was. It was guess who's coming, who's not. We don't know. And sometimes it was Xavier McKinney and Eric Wilson, and then Rashawn Gary and a defensive lineman, and then everybody else is dropping back. Where C.J. Stroud's like, what am I looking at? I don't know what I'm looking at. And by the way, then Xavier McKinney comes off the edge free because the offensive line is like, yeah, we got nothing, brother. Sorry.
Right.
And then they were just doing that, and people are like, well, they're blitzing a lot. It's not blitzing. I don't know if every team has a different keyword for it. Somebody I was listening to, Matt Schneidman for The Athletic, who writes for the Green Bay Packers, got the word for it. It was like fire zone or something like that, where they rush 4, but it isn't the 4 typical linemen. And Xavier McKinney was the free rusher. Well, he was a free rusher not because they brought more, because they just confused him. So everyone says, oh, they blitzed a lot. Not really. They blitzed 5 or more 11% of that game. The snaps, 11%. It's not a lot of that. The lowest average of blitzing is 17% in the league. Whoever has that, I don't know. But the lowest average blitz is 17% of the time. Green Bay blitzed 11. So they blitzed underneath that. Pressure on C.J. Stroud 51.7% of the time. That is not wasting coverage guys. So you're bringing 4 most of the time. And then having coverage, but you're getting pressure on them 51% of the time. That is what that scheme is. And winning one-on-ones, that's just all it was. And that's what guys like Lucas Van Ness, Rashawn Gary were not doing. They weren't winning one-on-ones. They were scheming these one-on-ones, but they weren't winning them. So then, of course, as we talked about last week, or 2 weeks ago maybe, Jeff Hafley comes out and says, because people were like, why isn't Rashawn Gary getting anywhere? Like, where Rashawn Gary, where is he getting pressure? And Jeff Hafley goes, I need more out of Rashawn, but maybe Rashawn probably needs more out of me. Like, he didn't say this is all Rashawn's fault. He goes, maybe this is my fault too. Like, I'm not putting him in winning situation. Rashawn Gary was rushing from, like, he was set up on the DN, and especially after that first pick, he was just setting up on the DN, and then all of a sudden he just switches over the center before pre-snap, and the center looks up and is like, what hell, hello. Or, he was coming around. It was a weird thing where it's like everyone pinched in, and C.J. Stroud probably saw that and said, okay, I got to relocate my pocket because they lost their contain. By the way, no, they didn't. Rashawn Gary's coming around being the contain guy. And so I think the defensive line, yes, we gave up 115 yards rushing. 50 yards of that for Joe Mixon was in one drive.
Yeah.
So you think about it, yeah, you gave up a bad drive. But then the rest of the way, you kind of saw Green Bay going, this ain't happening. We're not going to give up the run anymore. They kind of looked like they just bailed out on first down. If it looked like a running situation, they just bailed out on the run, and then you were 2nd and 10, and then the fun began. Okay, well, it's like, we got to throw the ball at 2nd and 10, or maybe if they ran again, who knows? So this was just hitting C.J. Stroud from everywhere. He didn't look comfortable. He couldn't set his feet. So hats off to that crew and Jeff Hafley, because that was a defensive performance that we haven't really seen in a while. The Minnesota game, yeah, they gave up only 3 points but that was a blowout. Minnesota was running conservative plays the whole second half. They're just trying to control the game a little bit, not make any mistakes, play a clean game. Houston was down. They needed to go get points, and they had really good field position, a lot, because, again, Packers were pinned in their own 30 for most of the second half. Thank God for this guy named Daniel Whelan, who is just lighting nukes off, who averaged 56 yards a punt for the entire game, which is bananas, where he could flip the field a little bit and make Houston have to out of field goal range and then, the whole thing. But it was something we haven't seen in a while. And it was just really nice to see because I don't think I've ever seen Joe Barry draw up a game plan like this. Like, the Lions last year, we saw 8 sacks from Green Bay in week 2. The Lion game on Thanksgiving last year, they played really well. Got 2 turnovers. Rashawn Gary had 3 sacks. But this was just different. It felt different. And it was usually like we have the offense carrying the games where it's like, oh, defense gave up 25 or defense gave up 28. But hey, the offense scored 31 to 35 points. No,
Right.
This was, oh boy, the offense is sputtering. And the defense is just like, we got it. Don't worry about it. Figure it out. We'll give you some time. Joe Barry's defense would have never done that. I guarantee you they probably would have given up 40 points that game. And this was a game Green Bay shouldn't have won. If we're being honest with everything, Green Bay probably shouldn't have won this game. You turn the ball over 3 times and you're -3 in the takeover or the takeaway category. You usually don't win football games, and they found a way to win. And that just screams the signs of this is a really good freaking football team. Like, y'all don't want them going on a run like they did last year. If they go on a run like they did last year, the league is going to be scared because if the offense gets hot and the defense keeps playing like this, which I think Green Bay fans are cautiously optimistic about defenses, but we're seeing improvements. We're seeing this scheme that Jeff Hafley's drawn up start to hit home a little bit more. Let's just enjoy that, and hopefully it continues. Hopefully they do become a top 5 defense. But for now, let's just enjoy the fact that Green Bay can win games if the offense isn't firing on all cylinders.
No, absolutely. I mean, if you look at it from just the games from throughout with the defensive plan, Eagles 34 points, then came back, Colts 10, Tennessee Titans 14. They faced the Vikings 31, Rams 19, Cardinals 13, and then obviously the Texans 22 points. But you look at that and you probably look at the stats, there's like, well, this is definitely a complete turnover from last year from the defensive perspective. So I'm all for it. I love what Jeff Hafley's doing. That game against the Tech.
Yeah. It was also a game where they didn't have a turnover. And we talked about that last week where, like, the Cardinals are kind of moving the ball a little bit, but then they just get a turnover. Like,
right.
I said, hopefully this defense doesn't get predicated on just getting turnovers because if they live and die by the turnover, once they get it against those good teams, like the Texans, like who they're gonna meet in the playoffs because they're a playoff team. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. They're a playoff team. I'm calling it right now. It's week 8, and they're a playoff team. Put them in. Just put them in. They're gonna be a playoff team. Playoff teams don't turn the ball over that much. Usually. Usually. So this was a game where they didn't turn the ball over, they didn't create any turnovers, and they still won. And it was a gritty defensive game. So that took care of another worry of mine from last week where I was like, oh, they're kind of relying on turnovers. Well, they didn't get any, and they still won, and they still held a usually pretty good offense to 22 points.
No, absolutely. And realistically, if you look at it, all their second half points, I'm sure if we went ahead and did all the averages, the teams that we played have maybe been at 14 or under in points in the second half, if not 0.
They're definitely a second half defense. They make adjustments. They make good adjustments, and it's great to see. Hey, if you're going to be a defense for a half, cool. But that was their first really full game because the offense did not put them in good positions at all. If the offense wouldn't have turned the ball over, gave Houston some short fields through special teams again, Houston may not score 10 points. Like, we might be looking at a 21-10 game, maybe 21-7. Who knows? So this game was a lot more comfortable than it probably should have been for Green Bay, but they put themselves into that position. No one beats the Green Bay Packers better than the Green Bay Packers do. They've said it many times. So the only time the Green Bay Packers really lose the past couple of years is when they shoot themselves in the foot. So let's just hope this defense just keeps rolling. We'll see what they got next week against Jacksonville. But first, I think this might be a first time on this show where we do talk about special teams being a hero and not a villain. So I think this is the first time I've ever seen in a post-game, just like a game ball situation where your kicker and punter were the 2 out of 3 game balls. Like, I think that's the first for me. I'm like, I've never seen that. So you got some weapons now, and bringing Brandon McManus in, that dude just looks comfortable. I mean,
absolutely.
He lined up for that. Like, I've been here. It's a Super Bowl winning kicker, kicked in a lot of big games. He's like, I've been here before. And if you've listened to him talk, he just like gets it in the sense of, he was talking about how the wind was going off the scoreboards and how the wind is in Lambeau Field. He just, like, Daniel Wheeland, not only punting, he had to learn from Wednesday to now, because apparently Brandon McManus is a little picky on how he likes his ball held, analytics and all that scientific crap that you and I don't understand. So Wheeland went over to McManus's house and literally was just like doing this thing, and until McManus was like, "Yep, it's good right there." And it's just like, Jesus, like, so hats off to those two dudes, putting in a lot of good work, because that snap on the game-winning field goal was not good. That's it. High snaps, I'd take. If I were a holder, I'd prefer high snaps, because at least you could just come down with it. Anything out here, because then you got to relocate and everything like that. I've never held a football for field goal in my life. I don't want that responsibility. So that whole operation finally may give us some ease when field goals are coming up, where we're, instead of like clinching, just basically flipping coins, it's okay. I feel pretty confident about this. So finally, special teams had their one turnover. I don't want to tell which that was horrible. Like you and I were texting the game. I was just ripping my hair out because that was bad. But again, win is a win. Doesn't matter how it looks. It all matters on the letter that's there, and it was a W. So let's move on out. Get on out of here. Let's move on.
As we will. Moving on over to the good old game that's coming up this weekend. They do face the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. I think all of us Packer fans can go in and say that's definitely a sleeper game. We don't know what type of, in prior, I would say, Packer years, when we go ahead and have these type of games, they're always not too good to us. But I'm going in with different intentions. I'm going in that we're definitely going to go over in the hot heat, do what we need to do, get out of there, get a dub. I think we're going to be able to run the ball effectively against this team. And if we run the ball effectively, which I mean over 100 yards, because I don't think this Jaguar defense is anywhere near what we just faced this past weekend, we'll definitely come out with a win and make it easy. It's just Jordan Love's got to make the right throws at the right time and not force things. This is one of those games where you just take what the defense gives you. You know your defense is hot coming off this game last week. Don't beat yourselves. That's the main focus for this team. And I think if we do that, we'll be good. Talk to me a little bit about that game. Kind of what your keys are for that going into this week.
If you repeat, not the mistakes, you have another game where your offense is stalling like that, in that Jacksonville Heat, it might be different. Just because, I mean, it's cooling down out here in Wisconsin. I mean, it's been a weird past couple days. One day it's like 45, 50 degrees. The other day it's like 80. It's really weird. They're going to go down to some heat. And I mean Florida heat. And it doesn't get much cooler around October. So wearing down is going to be like a thing to do. If you run that ball effectively and offensively, you're going to wear down that Jaguar defense. They're going to get tired, and then you're going to catch like Christian Watson over the top, Jaden Reed over the middle. Really important you run the football well, as you said. Defensively, just play your game. Don't
Right.
get after Trevor Lawrence. Make him do stupid things. Make him force some throws. He's not good. Like Trevor Lawrence, I'm so sorry. He is not good. Um, you
He's
get
not good
him.
at all. Not to
You get
be as harsh as me saying that, but
no.
I don't see
And
anything of what they were saying when he came
us
out.
saying us
No.
saying he's not good doesn't mean he's not good. It just means the NFL's hard and he's not an NFL quarterback. Call a spade a spade. He's not that good. You get him moving around like Trevor or like CJ Stroud like last week, he's gonna throw something up. He's just gonna get sacked all the time. He's another athletic QB guy, but I think this defense now with athletic QBs, not a running quarterback. I don't think classify him as a running quarterback. He's athletic. He's like a CJ Stroud, except he just doesn't throw the ball that well. So if you execute that game plan, they don't have the weapons like Houston does. Etienne, I think, is going to be out for the game again, which is a huge boost for Green Bay because then they're down to their second running back. If you let Trevor Lawrence beat you, you're going to have a good chance to win. Don't let their running game get going or anything like that. And offense, again, great analysis, James. Don't beat yourself. Win the line of scrimmage. Run the ball well. Christian Watson's going to break over the top. It might be another game where you just see two shell. Guess what? Now you just Romeo slant until they stop it. Like, sorry, dude. Like, you're going to be running slants till your feet have blisters because, like, if they're going to give you slants, take the slants. So, this is what media has become calling a trap game because Green Bay might go into this feeling themselves a little bit. Hopefully the offense is pissed off. That was not a good performance in the second half. Hopefully they're ready to go. But defense, you start feeling yourself a little bit. No. Lock them down. Don't take it. Just beat the piss out of them. Get them drowning, and then grab the garden hose, shove it down their throat, turn it on. And let's just beat the piss out of them, and then let's get out of Jacksonville. And then, because you got the Bears week after that, don't be thinking about Chicago. Let Chicago sit and simmer. Let them play whoever the hell they're playing this week. Hopefully they lose. Just focus on Jacksonville, nothing else. And then once Jacksonville's over with, go beat the piss out of them. And then just focus on Jacksonville. Let's get out of there with a W.
No, I feel that it's that simple. Moving on from the good old Packers. Obviously, our Badgers are doing very well. They beat Northwestern 23-3. Badgers right now are fifth in the Big Ten, 3-1 in the Big Ten. Overall record right now is 5-2. They're on a 3-game win streak. They have a massive game this week and coming up. But let's talk about the previous week against Northwestern. Talk to me about that game and what you felt. Felt like it was another Badger classic, man. Running the football effectively, defense playing well. Talk to me about it.
The only concern now is Braden Locke is kind of getting to be like the Jordan Love. He's gonna throw one eventually. Like Braden Locke has thrown an interception in every game since he took over in Alabama, at least one. So it's kind of like, okay, when is that going to happen? Other than that, he doesn't look like when he does throw picks, it bothers him. So I guess that's good, maybe. So other than that, as you said, in the past 34 now games since dating back to God knows when, Northwestern versus Wisconsin is 8. Wisconsin holds the record 18-16. So every time these boys take the field, those two teams take the field, it's just going to be close.
Right.
Wisconsin At the end of the first half, it looked like, okay, we're just going to go into the game. I think it was like 10-3 or 7-0 or 10-0. And then Northwestern makes also another head-scratching decision like the Texans. Hey, there's like 17 seconds left in this half or 20 seconds left. 2nd and 15 from our let's throw the ball. That's a great idea. They're never going to expect it. And then they get strip sacked on their 3-yard line, and Wisconsin takes it in for a touchdown to go to get a touchdown right at the end of the half. And then you don't want to play behind against Wisconsin if you're a Northwestern offense, because that defense is going to beat you up all day, and that's what they did. They kind of just controlled that game. It wasn't anything flashy. It was pretty blue collar. And nothing. Kind of looked like a Wisconsin Badger Northwestern game.
Right.
Kind of boring. It was 23-3 with some excitement.
There we go.
Okay, we're back. And so it was, hey, W is a W. Another game where less drama and just kind of like, okay, we're winning, more winning, continue winning. Oh, the game's over. Okay, we're done. Nothing like Melvin Gordon runs for 400 yards, ass whooping. It was just like we knew we were gonna win. We went in there. We played a decent game, and we won 23-3. Okay, let's move on. So it was kind of like an uninteresting, dominating win, if you want to call it that.
Right. No, I'm right with you on that. That was basically what that was. And then obviously this weekend, we're going to touch on that. They went against Penn State at home, 6:30 p.m. prime time. You want to go ahead and be a team to be known across the country. You want to win this game at home, any type of fashion. If you get a W,
Yep,
it's going to do a very good well to that team and going to go ahead and put you basically in a bowl game. If you win this game, you're in a bowl game.
probably, and it might give you a ranking, maybe give you a 25-24 ranking, because you're on a little bit of a run, you're on a little bit of heater, and then you go and beat Penn State. Might give them a ranking. So, and it is homecoming.
It is homecoming, definitely is. Talk to me about it, though. Talk to me what you think that, what are things that obviously we talk about the running, we talk about the defense. For me, when I look at this is a big coaching game, head coaching game, because you already had a big team coming in Alabama. You shit the bed there. You had, opportunities to go ahead and, for instance, maybe get a little bit more from the fan base. Like, okay, we got our guy, because there's still question in the air. There's still question, okay, is this going to work out? Are we going to be able to go ahead and beat a top team? Are we going to be able to have people like teams like this come in and actually win? Talk to me, like, what do you think is one thing that definitely, or two or three or whatever you want to hit for these Badgers to go ahead and possibly get this one against Penn State?
More great analysis. Make this school football, which is tough to do when you play the spread offense like they want to. Control the run game. Try to get turnovers. Penn State, coming off their worst game of the season, where they found themselves to win against USC, where they had 3 takeaways and they still won the game, kind of like the Green Bay game earlier. And they just came off a bye, so they're going to be coming off 2 weeks of preparation for Penn State against Wisconsin. You got to get some momentum and get Camp Randall going. Get Penn State a little panicky. Stop their really, really good tight end. That dude had 17 catches for 230 against USC. Like, some tight ends don't do that in a month. And this dude just did it and this dude just did it in a game. So I guess he's a key. So stop that guy, please. Defensively, just play that Mark Tressel mean, angry dog football that you've seen up close and personal. Just play that, because Penn State, they physical on offense. And it's going to be tough to get the ball taken away, because, again, their quarterback threw 3 interceptions last game. He's only thrown 6 in his entire career. He doesn't turn the ball over. So you got to do something, whether it be strip sacks, or you just got to disguise something. You got to try to be aggressive, take the play, try to create a turnover, but you got to do something to get Camp Randall going. It's
Right.
essentially what you got to do. College football is all about momentum. If you're at home and you're got homecoming, guess what? Guess who's going to be there? Likes of J.J. Watt, Melvin Gordon. I don't know if Russell Wilson even knows where he is, but he
Ron
might
Dane's
be.
going to be there probably
Ron
for
Dane,
sure.
Ron
Everyone.
Dane, Nick Toon, Al Toon, all the Jimmy Leonard. Just kidding. He's in Illinois, but you know what? He probably would like to be there. You know, all these boys. T.J. Watt might be there. You know, all the big stars are coming back, and they're gonna be on the field. You're gonna get an uproar. It's gonna be great, but you have to do something to get Camp Randall rocking. And I think if you get Camp Randall going, whether that be a really fast start on offense or takeaways on defense, you got to get the momentum on your side. You got to get the feel, the belief. I mean, not that this team is going into this thinking they're going to lose, but you got to get the juices flowing and got to get Penn State going. We better turn this around fast, or else this is going to get out of hand quickly in Camp Randall. Because you talk to anybody who who played in Camp Randall in the older days, maybe not in the past couple of years, but who's been on the bad end of those Wisconsin beatdowns in Camp Randall, they'll tell you, bro, it ain't fun. So Badgers just got to do something to get the crowd on their side. If the fans decide to, show up on time, I don't think they will. 6:30 game.
6:30 for God's sakes. They
They
can't
don't.
make that as a
They
problem.
don't know. They don't even know where Camp Randall is. They probably use their phone. So student section is gonna be 50% at kickoff, like it freaking usually is. It's gonna make me all mad because they were too busy drinking. Get out of here. They have beer at the stadium now. Get your asses in the seats. They open 2 hours beforehand. You can leave your house party. The girl you're chatting with over there, she'll be there when you get back. She's probably good. You know what? Bring her with her. They don't have assigned seating in the student section. Bring her with you. Chat her up there. Jesus, you guys. So get Camp Randall rocking. It's homecoming. Stars are bright. The lights are bright. The stars are gonna be there, bright and shining. Come out with a win. This game is at 6.5. The spread. So that means
it's a game.
They're giving 3 extra points to Wisconsin because it's a home game. So they realistically think it's like a 9.5, 10 game. That's what I've been told with odds makers. But it's college football, man. It's Camp Randall. The cliche. Any given Saturday, any given Sunday. This is why we play the game. We've seen upsets in Camp Randall before. You got to do something like David Gilreath back in. God, that was so long, dude. I'm old. We're old, bro. I think that was that 2007.
I haven't heard that name in years.
I know, right? David Gilreath against Ohio State, rated number 1 ranked Ohio State. I think it was Terrell Pryor. Takes the opening kickoff back. Stuff like that. You got to do things like that. So hopefully they knock off a big play, something, get Penn State, hit them in the mouth, get them a little stunned, get them panicking a little bit, and we'll see where it goes, man. I kind of think this is going to be a fun game to watch. So I kind of think this might be close. If I'm a betting man, which I am, I might
say,
be.
Don't lie about that, please. We don't need to
I'm
lie
not
on
gonna
this
lie
show.
about that. I'm thinking I'm probably gonna take Badgers points. Like it's Wisconsin. I mean, 6.5 is enough for a backdoor cover anyway, but it's Wisconsin at home, man. Like, they're ranked the 8th toughest place to play in America. You get 80,000 people rocking. Anything could happen. So I think it'll be close. I don't want to predict the score because obviously I'm probably going to be leaning toward Penn State because they played their worst game, beat USC. Wisconsin has to play their best half of football against USC, and we're up 24-10. But then they pissed it down their legs. I'm thinking I'm probably just going to go with the the team that knows themselves more, which was Penn State. They know what they're about. They have their identity. Wisconsin's gaining speed on that identity. But I probably would take Penn State. But if I was betting, I'd probably take the Wisconsin points. I think it'll be a one-score game.
No, I like that. I just want to, to conclude that, I just want to see what dogs are really out there when it's
Mm-hmm.
Camp Randall Lights. Everyone and their mother from the NFL, probably player personnel, is going to be there watching the game. What guy wants to go ahead and show that he's wanting to go ahead and make plays, not only for himself but for the team, and to go ahead and just be a dog? I
Yep.
want to see, because there are people on Penn State on that defense from top down that are going to come out and play from that
Mm-hmm.
defense and offense as well. But I want to see what Wisconsin does. I want to see that one guy when I come in and talk about it on Monday, this coming Monday. Like, hey, listen, this guy went ahead and showed me all I needed to see. He's a good draft pick
Mm-hmm.
from 1 to 3. I want to see plays like that being made out there, and I definitely think they can. They got the guys. We're going to see on Saturday. That's all we can say.
The game that put J.J. Watt on the back was on the map. He was already on that map, but that game against Ohio State where Gilreath took it back, J.J. Watt was an absolute menace. And he was in Terrell Pryor's lap all game. So that's the type of game that I think you're referring to. Who's going to be on national television just wreaking havoc? Where probably a lot of NFL scouts are going to be at this game, and a lot of NFL coaches might be watching. You never know. They might take an hour break, just flipping through. People are going to watch. What are you going to put on film for this upcoming draft if you want to go to the draft? So the lights are shining bright. We'll see who comes out and shines and who comes out and wilts. So
Yes, indeed. And then last but not least, our Milwaukee Bucks are finally here, baby. We got another season of the good old Bucks. They actually played, well, they're playing right now, today, Wednesday. Talk to me a little bit about this. Just briefly, because we're just starting. What are we feeling?
There's one goal, and Giannis said it today. I listened to a little bit of Giannis's interview, and Giannis is just trolling media. He's talking. This is year 2.
I'm not watching now. I'm not hearing nothing until it's so bad with Giannis Twitter right now. But continue.
Everybody wants him to leave Milwaukee. Giannis said his main goal for this year, because they're a playoff team. Let's just say that. Right, they're a playoff team. The East got a little better, but they let 10 teams in now. I think they'll probably be in that 4 to 6 range. They're old now. Like, this isn't the young Bucks hungry. This is the vet Bucks team where, Giannis is getting older. He's playing a lot of minutes. Chris Middleton can't play more than 40 games a year. Damian Lillard's 37 now. Is he 37, 38?
Around there. Old.
He's 36 to 38, I'd say. So this isn't a team that's built to go balls to the walls.
He's 34.
God, there I go again with my ages. Tony, we fact-checked it. We got it. So I don't want to hear anything from you.
You're going to hear it anyways.
Yeah,
you're going to hear it anyways.
He's old, okay? Not as quite as old as Reese Hoskins. Anyway, he's a team that could go balls to the walls for 82 games a season. This is a team that's going to have to manage their minutes. You got to just try to limp into the playoffs, not physically, like hopefully you're healthy. And then in the playoffs, that's when you turn it on. Or 10 games left, you get ready for the playoffs, and then you turn it on. I think Chris Middleton doesn't play more than 40 games this year.
Jesus.
Because one, he's already not playing tomorrow.
Yeah, which is already on the pace of what you're saying.
2 operations on his ankles over the offseason, which were bad. Hey, I'm all about a guy getting stuff done if he's going to return the next season to get healthy. He's had a lot of wear and tear over the past 3-4 years too. I don't think he plays more than 40 minutes or 40 games in the sense of they're going to be super careful with him coming back from these 2 minor ankle operations. They weren't huge. And just a matter of, we want you there for April, when April starts. And then we go into May, hopefully. And then we go into June, hopefully. We want you for those months. We don't want you for October, November, December. I think he'll play a lot of the big games So like games you catch on TNT. I mean this game because of his ankles, but if he's healthy, he's going to play all the tough teams. But I think once you get those kind of, you know, not so good teams, maybe you start seeing a little bit of a rotation between the big three just to get them healthy. Because that was Giannis's number one goal. What's your number one goal for this season? Giannis said, stay healthy. Because the past 2 to 3 years, somebody's been out. Middleton, Giannis, and then last year, all of the above. Giannis was out, then Dame was out sometimes, Middleton was out sometimes. And same, it's who's going to step up? I mean, you bring in Torrey, I think it was, you bring in that defender, Torrey King or Torrey Prince, one of the two. It's a royalty name. I don't even know. It hasn't been much talk. He's going to be your primary defender, which is nice. But can guys like Andrew Jackson Jr. step up? Can Beauchamp step up? I mean, there's talks of trading Beauchamp, but can Brook Lopez stay healthy and be effective in his old ass of like 35? Can Bobby Portis not be a black hole? Yes, I said it. Can Bobby Portis not be a black hole? But we don't know because things change in the NBA. Like Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, guys like that could be traded by February. So that's why I think when I talk about this,
and it's Tyron Prince came over from the Lakers. Yep.
Yeah, he was. I knew he was on the Lakers. Yeah,
you got it halfway right, but it's all good.
I've already said this. Basketball isn't really my game. I just kind of read the tweets and watch only the Bucks. I mean, if there's a big time game on, I'll tune in. Basketball wasn't my game. I never played a game of organized basketball in my life, but it makes for great TV, especially with TNT. I am the biggest tune-in person of TNT because of Shaq, Chuck, Ernie.
God bless them.
God. Thank God. I think they renewed their cut. Thank God.
Thank God the whole cast is still together and they're airing it.
Honestly, if that show wasn't a thing anymore, like if it went away, I think basketball viewership would be cut by 25%.
Yes.
Maybe even more. I wanted to go 50 a little bit, but people like me, the casual NBA fan. I don't even know if I could call myself casual. I'm just kind of like, I tune in for the Bucks. I don't know how the X's and O's go for basketball. I just kind of eye test everything. I watch Giannis throw some yams. I watch Damian Lillard throw up half court shots. But then I'm like, I gotta watch Shaq, Chuck, and Ernie. Like just
right
because they're gonna make fun of somebody. Chuck's gonna say something so out of pocket, talking about churros and big women in San Antonio. Shaq's gonna race Ernie to the board, or not Ernie. I can't remember the other guy's name. It's terrible. But they're gonna race to the board. They're gonna do their thing. They're gonna hit the button and drop the ping pong balls on Shaq. Kenny Smith. Kenny and Shaq are gonna race to the board. Shaq's gonna fall because he's big and dumb. But thank God TNT's on. That is like the highlight. And obviously, it's a casual NBA fans because something's gonna happen where those guys are just where everyone's gonna be like, oh my God, internet. It's like,
right? No, totally.
So, but yeah, a long season. You don't win a championship in October, November, December, January. And then you start trying in February, especially with this new play-in tournament. Now it's just like there's so many games. I think the NBA needs to sincerely think about maybe cutting it by at least, I'd say 25%, because it's just so long. Like teams, like it's tough. It's a long season. It's the longest season of sports, I think. Period. I think hockey maybe be the one that rivals it to go into June. Everything else, like baseball, starts in. I mean, I know they have their spring training, but that's preseason. I don't count preseason. It goes to April to maybe November. And then football is the shortest one. Let's not even talk about that. And then you got hockey and basketball that go from October to June,
which is nuts.
It's crazy because then in June, then you got July, and then you go August, and it's like, oh my God, it's training camp already. Like, didn't they just end? So baseball can be long. It seemed like it, but you're playing back to back to back to back to back games. So I mean, I don't know. Just stay healthy. I think the Bucks know now they're older. They can't play balls to the walls the whole season. Let's just, if you got a ticket to the dance, you have a chance to win. I think that's the Bucks motto. Let's just get that ticket to the dance. Let's get a ticket to the tournament, and let's be healthy when we get there. And they probably know they can probably beat anybody if they're healthy. So I think that's the new motto instead of let's go to try to win 65 games and get a 1 seed. I don't think that's their goal. I think let's just play. Let's just try to be healthy. Let's get a 4 seed or maybe even a 3 seed because stuff happens, and let's just see what happens. And then the other thing is let's see what Doc Rivers does. It's always a story. Can Doc Rivers coach a team that isn't Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen in their primes to an NBA championship and not create drama? Because there's always seems to be drama around a Doc Rivers team. So we'll see. But I think they are a playoff team. They're gonna be in the tournament. But it's just a matter of get there healthy, and you got a shot. That's all it really is. So, great analysis, James. Well, one, I don't know basketball guy, so people stop yelling at me. So, but again, just stay healthy. That was Giannis's number one goal, and I think he's absolutely right.
No, he definitely is, and we got Darvin Ham back, obviously assistant coach. Will hopefully get those young guys going because they're going to be a key factor.
I forgot about that.
They're going to be a big factor for this regular season.
That's
we're going to have those young guys playing very well.
That's a huge addition. I don't think people realized when he left after the champion. I think he left after the championship season to go to the Lakers, or is the year after?
No, it was right after when won the championship. That's when he got the job.
Yeah. So Bobby Portis came out like 20 games after, where the Bucks were kind of struggling, and said, "I don't think people realize how big of a loss Darvin Ham was." Like Bobby Portis said that. And when that's a guy in the locker room that's been there and he's like, that's a huge loss, and now he's back, I think that'll help Doc Rivers a lot because he's been around a lot of these guys already. So I think that's a big addition too. Even though there's a lot of people out there who don't like Darvin Ham. But I didn't say that. But yeah, so I think that's an underrated thing too, but we'll see, man. Basketball is obviously very entertaining. We got Sixers tomorrow. No Embiid, no Paul George in Philadelphia. I think it's in Philadelphia. I love going into Philly and winning because watching Philly fans freak the fuck out is one of my favorite pastimes. So we'll see. We'll see. It'll be fun. We got an invested Damian Lillard. He's actually got a training camp under him. He actually worked out in the offseason. Now this whole thing of, wait a minute, I got traded to Milwaukee, like blah, blah, blah thing is out, and he seems 100% invested with him and Giannis. Maybe the old Dame comes back where all of a sudden he's averaging 29, 30 points a game. I mean, he didn't look that bad last year, and he was out of shape for over half the season. So, well, we'll see. It should be exciting. Like, it really should be. But we've seen some weirder things happen. So.
We've always have. Well, that's it, everyone. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Jimmer, appreciate you. We got a big week end for football, for Badgers and Packers. And then, obviously, today we got the Bucks. So, Jimmer, always a pleasure, brother. We'll see you soon, everybody. Peace out.
See you next week.